Now we are in the process of writing down the gospel. When you look at the gospel writing, it took some decades because of many reasons which I've already stated out. So the process right now, it is illustrated as below. Originally, the gospel was transmitted orally by the word of mouth from one place to another, from person to person, from door to door. That was during apostolic period between 33 AD to 64 AD. So later on, the gospel got its permanent fixed format that was of proclamation that came to be called the Kenyigima. I remember talking about it. So from this Kenyigima, that's where they laid a true foundation for putting the gospel in the written form. The gospel writers of the Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, they used the Kenyigima as a source of information while putting the gospel into written form. Because what we call the gospel are only 4 books. That is the gospel according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because they contain the good news about Jesus Christ. So the first gospel to be written was Mark. That was around 64 AD by John Mark. And when you look at the process of writing this gospel, there was some criteria which they used. So, Mark himself possesses that name, John Mark, in the New Testament canon. And also Mark got the information which he used in writing down the gospel from Kenyigima. Kenyigima here served as a source, a foundation of each and every gospel. We also look at Mark also used Peter, because Peter was the head of apostles. Christ himself appointed him, and he was above all, much as he had little understanding or little faith in Jesus Christ. So when you look at the process of putting the gospel, they would see whether the person was too close to the eyewitness of Jesus, or he was too close to apostles of Jesus. So Mark got the information from Peter, and Peter was an apostle of Jesus Christ. He got the chance of seeing, interacting, and even hearing the good news from Jesus Christ directly. So he could get a lot of information in putting down the gospel from Peter. Here we see that Peter helped a lot in writing down of the Gospel of Mark by the John Mark. The second gospel to be written was the Gospel of Matthew. That was around 70 AD, and it was written by Matthew himself, much as Matthew was formerly known as Levi, the chief tax collector, whereby Jesus himself called him when he was in his office of collecting the taxes. And Matthew left everything and followed Christ. So we look at the information which Matthew used. He also got the information from Mark. And they all used the same source, that is Kenyigema. So the source of information to write down in this gospel was similar to the one of Mark. That's why in their writing, there is a lot of similarity. Most especially when it comes to the miracles, when it comes to the parables which Jesus used. So there is a lot of similarity in the words which the two people used. So the third gospel to be written down was Luke. That was around 8 AD by Luke the theologian. Luke, in most cases, we see that he got this information from the friend called Paul, where he met and they had a lot of travels with Luke. The Luke also used a lot of other information from Paul on his way, whereby he could help him in putting down the information. Now we also look at the first gospel to be written down was the gospel according to John. That was around 8 AD, written by John, the beloved disciple of Jesus Christ. John and Peter were too close to Jesus. They had direct information from Jesus Christ, so they could help in putting down these gospels together. He also got information from the oral tradition, which we referred as the Kenyigema. And when you look at these sources which they used, were almost similar to one another. So that's what I had in brief. Thank you.